What's up everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name's Webb and this is part 2 of the video where I was giving you the story of my first build and my first setup. So far I've given you the entire story of what it was like going through my first entire build and a little bit of background of the story of what I went through in building it. In this video, I have a little bit more to tell you about the build that I have. There was one thing that I did leave out in the last video that I wanted to talk about today, just to let you know what's inside. And I'm going to do a little bit of a walkthrough on what I have going on behind me, which really isn't much, but I still want to give you a look into what I'm doing for my first time streaming and shooting YouTube videos. So anybody that is thinking about doing it for their first time, you can kind of see what someone else has for their first time setting up themselves a little studio and setting themselves up for streaming and shooting. So it'll be a good look for anybody that is looking to do this for their first time, but also for anybody that is just curious to see what I have going on in the background here. This is my very first setup, so it'll kind of be cool to keep this video on record to see how it will progress and change through time. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that over the years, how it evolves and comes into something different. But I wanted to do these videos just to show you what I have going on at the start here and see where it goes over time. So let's get into it. Alright, so the one thing that I forgot to mention in the last video about my first build was my memory. I'd never let you guys know what I had going on for memory inside there. And for me, I did something a little bit different. I know most people like to keep everything concentrated to maybe 1 or 2 drives. Me, I kind of went with a bunch, mainly for different reasons, because I have ideas of what I want to store on each one. I know a lot of people say that that can get pretty messy having to deal with 4 or 5 different drives, but for me, if I dedicate them to certain things for each, it's really not that bad because I know which drive to go to for what I'm looking for, so it's not that bad. And the first drive that I bought for my build was an NVMe. I wanted to make sure that I got a pretty good one for this because my plan was to have one drive dedicated to the operating system alone. Just so there's no clutter, there's nothing else on it, I don't have to worry about anything else. And I figured the easiest drive to make that out for would be the NVMe since it's connected directly to the motherboard. And I wanted to make sure I got a quality drive, one that I didn't have to worry about. So I decided to go with the Samsung, of course. And I went with the Samsung 970 EVO Plus NVMe for my Windows operating system only. It's a 250 gigabyte drive, so it has plenty of space on it. It won't have any clutter. I don't have to go searching around for it for anything else. It's dedicated to just my drive, so it will stay fast, and I don't have to worry about that drive. It was a little bit on the pricey side, but I figured it was worth it because I definitely want to have a drive that is reliable for my operating system. And show you what I got next. And next I had to choose a drive that was going to be specifically for my games. It's not very big, but I wasn't looking to spend $500 just on memory alone. I had to get something just to get me started, so I could put a few games on if I have to uninstall them and delete them from the drive and then reinstall them in order to play. I figured that was okay for now. I knew I had to get at least 1 terabyte. I would have loved to get a 3 or 4, but I also am putting my games on an SSD to keep it lightning fast. So I wasn't about to spend $400, $500 on memory alone for this build. I figured that at least 1 terabyte would get me plenty of space to put maybe 5, 6 games on without having too much clutter on or filling the drive up completely. And that will be the games I play, you know, for that time being anyways, because I don't need to keep my entire library on a drive at all times. If I have to reinstall one, it'll take, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to reinstall a game. That's not that big of a deal. And then save you a lot of money in the long run. So I decided to go with a Crucial 1 terabyte SSD for games alone. This only has games on, nothing else. And I did some research on different drives, and because I knew I was getting a cheap one. There's, you know, PNY. There's a bunch of different ones that I looked at. From some of the charts that I did read, Crucial was one of the fastest and more reliable, and still at a really good price. I think you can get this 1 terabyte SSD for around $100, which is not bad for an SSD. That's a pretty good price, and for a reliable and semi-fast one, it is good. So I decided to go with that. And also, I decided to buy one more Crucial SSD. So I went with a 250 gigabyte Crucial SSD, which was also at a pretty good price. That drive is going to be specifically for apps and things like that, things that do not take up a lot of memory, but I still want to be fast. There's not much going in there at all. I still have 175 gigabytes left on that, which, like I said, mainly is just apps and other little things that I don't have to worry about digging around for in my game drive or, my operating system drive. But I also decided to get one more drive, so I have 4 drives in this computer at the moment. And the last one I decided to get was an SSHD made by Seagate. It's a relatively good price, and that is also a 1 terabyte. That drive is going to be mainly for my YouTube videos. It's also going to be for just random pictures and things like that that I use for social media and stuff like that. So I have them all divided up. I have one for operating system, I have one for games, I have one for apps and other little things that don't take up a lot of data, and I have the one for pictures and video, which will take up quite a bit, which I'm eventually going to upgrade. I can also squeeze 2 more drives into this, but I'm not sure if I have enough ports on my motherboard for it. I'll have to take another look. But I could fit one more SSD and one more HDD or SSHD if I wanted to, but I'm probably just going to stick to SSD after this. I just wanted to get one SSHD for a little bit of speed in it, and because it's on the cheap side. I didn't want to spend really a lot of money on memory, like I was saying, more than I already did, having 4 separate drives. But I figured they were all pretty important to have, and I didn't want to clutter all them different things that I had ideas for, apps, pictures and videos that I'm making now, and games all on one. I could have gotten like a 4 terabyte, but also I wanted to make sure that my games and apps and things like that are working from the computer are on an SSD, and the pictures and videos and other things like that, that didn't really matter to me. So that was what I decided to go with, and I have a lot of memory in this PC. I don't recommend for your first one going for as much as I did. Maybe you should just consolidate that and put games on one, especially if you're getting a computer just for gaming. It's separate if you're going to do gaming and YouTube. Then if you follow my method, it works pretty good. I mean, I have everything organized, and even in my real life, I'm a very organized, clutterless kind of person. I like to put everything back where I took it from, so I always know where it is. And the same thing goes for my drives. Certain things go on certain drives. You always know where to look, and you don't have to, there's no confusion. So that's what I got going on for memory inside of there. And next, I'm going to go over a couple of the other little things that I'm doing, like maybe this mic and what I'm using to shoot this video on. I'll go over some other things that I have in the background, my monitor and the other my second monitor that I have there, and maybe some even the gaming memorabilia that I have in the background as well, and see if you guys can actually point out where it's from. I'm very curious to find out if you guys can point out where some of these things are from or what games they were from and things like that. So we'll head over there and take a look. First, we'll go over what I'm using to shoot this video, and we'll go over the mic that I'm using as well, and I'll show you what I'm doing for that. All right, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to go over is the microphone that I'm using. On the side there, I'm sure you can see that it's made by Rode, and the mic that I'm using is the Rode Pod Mic. This is not the first mic that I bought for my setup that I have going on right now. I started with a Blue Yeti Nano, and it was a really awesome mic. It was a great mic. I did like it a lot, but it is a condenser mic, and it was starting to pick up a lot of things in the background that I did not like because I'm not working in an isolated area. I don't have a basement. I don't have a room dedicated to just being able to film in. I have to work with what I have here. So that really wasn't cutting it. It was picking up way too much in the background. So I decided to go with a dynamic mic, and I came across the Rode Pod Mic, and it was a very good, affordable price. For $100, you can find this mic, and as you can see, it is a pretty good mic. This is me using the mic straight out of the box. This is with no mixer, no tuning at all, which eventually I do want to upgrade and get a mixer, but I'll go over that in a little bit. As you can see right out of the box, it does sound pretty good. I have no problems with that. It's definitely getting the job done right now. But eventually I do want to get a mixer. As much as I would love to get a Go XLR, that's not quite in my budget right now. But I'm going to look at trying to get maybe a mixer for around somewhere under $100 if I can in the coming future, so I can mess around with the levels and tune it properly so it sounds perfect the way I want it. But as you can tell right now, it's definitely a good mic to buy, especially if you can't afford to get a mixer or a Go XLR. It's definitely a good purchase. And here's the box. Yeah, it's an XLR mic, and I actually have this connected directly to my camera. So I did have to buy an XLR to 3.5 millimeter cable, and that allows me to plug it straight into my camera. And I'm not sure if all cameras have the capability to do that at the price point that I bought this camera at, but we'll be going over the camera next. But that's what I do have set up. So it's not tuned at all. It's all I needed to do is buy an XLR to 3.5 millimeters so I could plug it into a headphone jack on the side of my camera, and the audio is coming straight from the mic straight into the camera, so I don't have to mess with it at all. And especially when I put it onto my editor, it's all just matched up as one. You know, I don't have to take separate audio files and put it, and match them up. So it works out great for me, especially just starting out at all this. And next we'll go over the camera. Alright, so this was a very hard decision for me to make. I looked all over, everywhere that I could for the best price on a budget camera, on just a good camera to get me started out. And I know a lot of other YouTubers recommended not to start out by going and buying an expensive camera and all this other stuff, and try to use just what you have. I did try to use my C920 webcam for shooting YouTube video, and I could not get it to work. I don't have the proper lighting, and I didn't have all that other stuff to make it look good. It looked so bad. Way too bad for me to start. I was not confident enough in putting out a video that looked like that. I just couldn't do it. Even though a lot of people will say, just just put them out there, your first few videos, just get them done, get them out there, and get a start and learn as you go. I couldn't bring myself to do it. It looked too terrible. The lighting was off, the color was off, everything was bad. I couldn't do it. I just wasn't confident enough. So I had to find a camera that was in a decent price range for me just starting out, something that I won't have to spend too much money on and worry about having to learn it as well, because I know a lot of cameras can get very complicated, especially with more features that they have. What I decided to go with was the Canon EOS M50. This was a camera that a lot of people recommended as a budget camera and just starting out. It will shoot 1080p, 60 frames per second. It does have 4K capabilities, even though most people won't recommend it because it is cropped. And I'm not really interested in shooting in 4K right now anyways. 1080p is definitely good enough, especially for YouTube. And it also came with a good lens. I am super happy with this camera right now. It was a good price point. It has all the features that I want and need out of a first camera, especially while still learning about how to use it and all the features that it does have. Super easy to use. I couldn't have made a better choice. It was up between this camera or a Sony, and the only thing that I did not like about the Sony is I do not think that the model that I was looking at had a headphone jack in it, so I could not plug my microphone straight into it, and that was kind of important for me to do at the start. I didn't want to mess around too much with just learning everything, and this made things so much more simple. But yeah, the M50 is a great camera. I love this thing. It's going to be great for me shooting my videos. I'm going to shoot some vlog style videos on this thing as well, and it will definitely get the job done for that. So this camera is good all around for me for doing everything that I wanted to get done at a decent point. Probably the cheapest you can find out there for a budget starting camera that has all the basics that you need. The only thing that it doesn't have that I haven't had to use yet is a clean HDMI, but I recently was watching some videos about people who did manage to make the HDMI on this clean, and I'm going to have to look over them again, because there might be a point where I try to use this for streaming as well and just ditch the C920 since it's such an old webcam. It looks really good too, but I mean, I might try to stream on this, especially if I want to set up a dual camera. Then I'd be able to use this and the C920 for different angles and things like that, which I do plan on setting up in the future. But as a starter camera, I couldn't ask more out of this. I will definitely recommend it to you if you're looking for a starter camera and you can afford this. If you can't, of course, try to find something a little bit cheaper that is good for you. This camera has everything I need to get done for shooting YouTube videos and for the possibility of streaming with it in the future. So I couldn't have made a better choice on that. All right, and next we're going to take a look at some of the things I got going on in the background, which isn't much, but I'll briefly go over everything that I got going and just show you the little setup that I have going. And I have to admit that it definitely looks a lot better than I thought it was going to once I got the camera in and set up my angle and everything that I have going on. It looks a lot better than I expected it to. I thought it was going to look pretty bad and just weak, and I really wanted to get rid of the white walls in the background as well. I even bought wallpaper, but after setting it up and shooting it, it looks okay. And I'm still going to consider getting rid of the white walls in the background, but the LED on the side kind of does help it a little bit, get a little bit of contrast. I might consider getting some darker walls in the background, but we'll see how that goes in the future. As of right now, I think it looks pretty good, and we'll see where it goes. That will be part of the growing experience for me and see how this channel grows over time. I especially don't want to get everything like crazy professional right out of the gate. Sometimes it's fun to have progression and start at the bottom kind of where you can and work your way up instead of trying to do too much at the start, you know, especially that it can be overwhelming. There's a lot to take care of doing this kind of work, and trying to do too much at one time is not a good thing because you kind of have to stay focused on other things that are more important. So we'll see how that goes over time. And all right, let's get into it. All right, so here we are taking a look at my little studio that I have set up here. And first, I guess we'll start with the chair. I decided to go with a Booley's chair. It is the Master Series, and I absolutely love this chair. It was a little bit on the pricey side, but I love the black and white stitching to start. It's really, really comfortable. I like how it actually doesn't have like the holes at the top where the pillow strap goes and all that stuff. This I think the Master Series is supposed to be meant more for like home and office and not just gaming, but it also does have that racer style bucket seat look to it. Definitely a great chair. It has built-in lumbar support, so that knob right on the side there, you can just spin that and it will adjust your lumbar support right there. It'll either go out farther or back in, and that's great. 4D armrests, just an all-around great chair. Definitely like it, and it's helped my back a lot. All right, and next we'll just take a look at the desk in general. This is not the first desk that I had. At first I did order an Atlantic Eclipse gaming desk, and it was a little bit smaller. I didn't really like how it went. It was kind of like an oval shape, and it didn't fit in the corner right, and I really just should have went with a corner desk to begin with. This has made things so much better. It's so much more comfortable, and it fit perfectly, and it actually takes up less space, even being a bigger desk, just because it fits in the corner. I definitely like the aged wood look on it as well. Definitely stylish. It fits really well in here. I kept a couple of the features from that Atlantic gaming desk, though, as I did sell it. A couple I could not part with. For one, this. A little rest for my headset. And I took a couple of self-tapping screws and screwed it into the aluminum, and that stuck with me along with this desk. One more feature that it came with was an awesome cup holder there. And I did the same thing, put a couple of self-tappers in the bottom and kept that for an addition onto this desk. Also, that cup holder is not all that great. Without that little wooden coaster in there, that does not work very well because it has a crossbar in there and no drinks like to stay on it well. So what I did was I threw a little coaster in there on my own, and that is actually a coaster that I made myself, made out of poplar wood. Used with oil-based poly on it. I made a bunch of coasters. I still have probably 200 or 300 coasters that I made from back in the day, all different sorts of wood. That's poplar. I have yellow birch. I have cherry. I have sugar maple. A bunch of separate ones. But on to the setup. Sorry for the sidetrack. Down here is just a couple. You can actually put a computer tower on that, but I just turned that into kind of just storage for me. There's where I got my notepad and notebook for all that stuff, a couple memory cards, and mainly wires and things like that. That's um, that that pouch right there is a case that my ring light came in, and I just used that to store a bunch of stuff on top of it, and mainly wires and my battery charger and a mini tripod and some other things. Next, we have the webcam. I am using the C920 webcam. I bought the little privacy window for it as well, and it's a nice webcam. I have to say, I've used it streaming a couple times now, and it gets the job done. It's a good little webcam to have. Um, the mouse I'm using is a Corsair Glaive. Once again, using a Corsair, I think it's a K55 keyboard. I love Corsair products, I have to say. Both of them have been great, and I'm definitely, and even like I was saying in the last video, the case that I'm using is a Corsair as well, and I'm definitely going to stick with Corsair products. I love their products. I'm using a Sony soundbar in the back there that is basically just a brick because I bought it to actually be able to get audio from my monitor into that, but it just doesn't have the right ports. I've tried a ton of different like adapting wires like USB to 3.5 millimeter. I've tried optical to 3.5, but it ended up the 3.5 was a toss link, so it didn't work. It does have an HDMI port on the back, but that didn't work as well. So the only thing it works for is Bluetooth with my phone. So when I'm listening to YouTube videos, cooking in the kitchen, I put on the soundbar with my YouTube videos on so I can hear it loud. But if anyone has any ideas how I can get that thing hooked up to my monitor, please let me know. I'm still looking around at different adapters that I can use for it. Anybody has any suggestions, please put it in the comments down below. Then I got the Xbox Phantom White controller here, which I recently bought because both my controllers went bad, and I have not touched that since I've started keyboard and mouse gaming. Eventually one day I'm sure we'll get some use out of certain games, and I'm sure it'll be better to use a console, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe not. And the monitor. The monitor that I'm using is the Samsung C27 FG73. Try saying that 10 times fast. And it is a 27-inch curved gaming monitor, and it is 1080p, but it does have a QLED screen, so that kind of makes up for it. It's 144 hertz with 1 millisecond response time, and it is AMD FreeSync technology, but that is where I made a mistake, because this was like the first thing that I bought for this entire setup when I wanted to set all this up. And I did not know the difference. I figured FreeSync was just upgraded and good. But FreeSync only works with AMD graphics cards, as far as I know. It might be compatible with other stuff, but it's meant for AMD graphics cards. And I have an NVIDIA graphics card, which is supposed to be compatible with G-Sync. So technically I should have bought a G-Sync monitor, but I did not know any better. But so far, even without it, I did disable the FreeSync on it, and it works great on its own, even without it. But I'm going to consider that for the next one I buy, especially when I get rid of this hunk of garbage. This monitor was just a garbage little monitor that I got at Walmart for dirt cheap. It's like 720p. It's a piece of crap. But the only reason that I got it was mainly because I was thinking it was for my chat screen and other things like that. So I'd go as cheap as I possibly could. But the colors are so bad on it, and it's just, I can't wait to get rid of it. But it's doing the job for now. And as you can see, I put some LED strips on the back just to give it a little bit of a look. And I like that. I recently put up these two shelves here. And we'll get into that in a second. But one other thing that I do have set up for this little spot is a ring light. And I have that held up there by 2 nails in the trim and just sitting up there, and I really hate it. I hate that cord running down right now. It's all I have right now because I just hooked it up because I was not getting enough light into my webcam for streams. But having that sit up there when I'm gaming at 1 a.m. and I'm not getting any natural light into my room, that definitely helps. Is perfect. That's the only place that I could put it where it was not too much light or too little of light, and it looks really good, I have to say, even with the webcam that I do have. That's kind of what I got going on over in this corner here. And now we'll get into some of the memorabilia that I have up, and I'm hoping you guys can tell me where this is from. I would be very impressed. I would love to hear in the comments below where some of this stuff is from. We have this flag right here, which I tried everything in my power to get those wrinkles out, and it definitely would not come out. I tried the dryer, I tried a steamer, everything. wouldn't happen. I think maybe because I had it for so many years folded up, it just, and the type of material that it is, it won't go. It's actually being held up by two Velcro strips along the top and the bottom, kind of stretched out as far as I can get it. But I'd love to hear if anyone can tell me what this is from. Also, we have a couple easier ones here. We have this. I've had that for many years, and as you can see, the front of the drill is, the tip is knocked off, which is very upsetting to me, but that's actually how I got it when I got the game. And I've still been meaning to color it in with a gray marker on the end, just so it looks a little better than it does, because I absolutely love this thing. I've had it for so many years, and it is still together. If anyone can tell me what game this is from too, I'd love to hear that. And one more we have here. This one's a little more difficult, but I'll give you a hint. Some of you PlayStation fans out there will know where this is from. Know which one of the games. Well, there's not many of them anyway, so that's not probably hard to guess anyways. But one more thing that this did come with, it came with the actual real-life sling pack from the game, and I still have that as well, and I really want to put that on the wall somewhere because I absolutely love it. I wanted to actually use it like in real life for travel purposes and things like that, but I could never bring myself to use it, and it is still in mint condition, and I absolutely love that thing. But I'd love to hear what game that is from. And these ones are, of course, a little bit easier. I just put these up recently. I have had this for years, and it is also in mint condition. I'm going to open it up and show you some of the things that I have on the inside of that, too, which there was one disc that also came with it that I am missing, that I'm super mad about. I don't know where it is at the moment. But I recently just got these shelves up a few days ago, and I actually like how the light glows on the bottom of it, and it kind of contains that light down there. It's pretty cool, but you can see the minor glow up the side of the wall. That looks really good, I think. This one is super easy to, this one is going to be super easy for you guys to guess, but that is also in mint condition, as well as the book. The art book that it came with is absolutely amazing. That's one of my favorite things in a collector's edition to this day, besides that. But that comes in second. And give me 1 second. We'll take a look on inside Master Chief's helmet and see what's in there. I'll show you guys some stuff that I got. Also with the little memorabilia that I have on top of the shelf as well. Alright, so we'll start with these two. I just want to show you these real quick. This also came with the flag, which is going to be easy for you guys to guess anyways, but I still just want to see what you guys have to say as to which game it did come from. This is pretty cool. I've had this for so long as well, and these also come from Black Ops 2. The coins that came with one of the editions. I can't remember which one they came with, but I've been dragging those along with me for many years as well. These two I got sitting on top. I eventually do want to put the coins like on the end, I think, of each of one of the end of the shelf so you can see them face forward. And the cog, I think I'm probably just going to hang on the wall as well. I'm going to find a way to prop it up on the wall so you can actually see it, but give me 1 second. I'm going to flip this around. And here's what it looks like on the other side, just for everyone else to see. It says property of Coalition of Ordered Governments. And let's get into Master Chief's helmet next. Alright, so before we get into this, I want to apologize if this audio is bad. This is actually kind of difficult for me to do right now. I actually have my Rode Pod mic detached from the boom in my hand, using it just like a regular talking microphone. That is the best I could do right now for this because I'm still shooting on my M50. I found a couple of cool little things that I've had tucked away inside Master Chief's helmet for many, many years. This is another piece. I want to get these two in a picture frame, but this also came with the flag. And this is once again in mint condition as well. This is actually really cool. I completely forgot that I even had this. But this too is another one that I would absolutely love to get in a picture frame and put in the background for you guys to see. Super cool. And this is one thing I also love to see. I do this every now and then, is I save receipts from things that I buy in the past, and I actually came across this. Yes, that is from 9/25/2007, the reserve pickup for my Halo 3 Legendary Edition. Yeah, that is pretty cool, and the fact that it still actually has the ink on it is pretty crazy. Because a lot of the times, like I'll show you the next one that I have, that is pretty much worn off, but it is still intact. So let me show you the next one that I got as well. All right, and this is from 9/24/07, which is a receipt of my order deposit for my Halo 3 Legendary Edition, and also $10 credit from trading in Call of Duty 3, which I don't know why. Actually, I do remember why. I loved Call of Duty 2 when it came out, and Call of Duty 3 was so different. I absolutely hated it at first. But it turns out Call of Duty 3 is still one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time. A very controversial opinion I have there, but just the memories that I have of playing with my friends back in that game is what makes it one of the best for me. Not necessarily the gameplay or the features. It takes me back to a time that I remember of playing with my friends that I absolutely cherish. You know, on a point in my life that I remember very fondly of, that I, you know, it's just one of those things. That's why I like to Call of Duty 3 so much, and why it's still to this day it's one of my favorite shooters, besides Halo 3, which is actually my favorite shooter of all time. Probably another controversial thing too, but the same thing goes for that game as it did with Call of Duty 3. But yeah, anyways, couple receipts from 2007 for my purchases for this game. Pretty cool. All right, everybody. So that is a peek into my first build and my first setup that I have going on here. This video is definitely meant for anybody who is considering doing the same thing that I'm getting into here, you know, considering starting up their first YouTube channel, considering starting up, you know, their first little studio if they're considering getting into PC gaming, or just having their first setup for, you know, getting a PC set up and being able to run everything they want if they're interested in, you know, streaming and shooting YouTube videos. This video is basically meant for you. Anybody that's considering doing the same thing that I just got into, so you can see what someone else did for their first time. But also this is meant for anybody who just likes these style of videos, a vlog style video, where I can get on a personal level with you guys and just show you some things that I got going around in here, and a peek into my personal life and things like that, you know. So I want to thank you all for sticking around with me for these two videos, if you did so. For anybody that has watched the first video in its complete 40-minute long introduction, thank you very much for checking out that video, and thank you for checking out this video as well. I love doing these style of videos, so if you guys like this style of video as well, I'll definitely keep making content like this in the future, because I absolutely love it. I'd love to do a lot of different things with this channel. I'm going to make a separate video on just the direction and different things that I would like to do with this. But this is just a taste of some of the things that I personally like doing. I hope you guys do too, because it'll make it fun for both of us. You know, I get to shoot style of videos that I enjoy shooting, and you get to watch style videos that you enjoy watching. So, with that being said, thank you again for checking out these videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It would help me out a ton. It'll help me to be able to keep making content like this, and there'll be many more different types of content coming to this channel as well, but this is definitely going to be one of my favorites to make. But thank you so much again, and take care.